Right. I think now my microphone is working, which is always comes in handy when you're the presenter. So thanks everyone for joining. I think everyone who signed up for this webinar is here now. So I think we can get started. This webinar will also be recorded and will be shared on Wally afterwards. So welcome everyone. First of all, I would like to check with you guys how the update has been received so far. Did you enjoy our release or were there many bugs? Yeah, I would like to hear a first impression of our most recent release. So does anyone have something as an input? Okay, good to hear that it's loud and clear because I didn't hear any one of you guys, at least not on my speakers. Okay, great, Rebecca. The Blaze all legends. I think everyone is on mute. Okay. Let me check. Okay, let me see. I'm going to continue and we can use our team chat for now to ask questions or give impressions in the meanwhile. Please let me know if you have technical difficulties. I'll try to solve it in the meanwhile, but so far most people can hear me. I hope Kamaya can also hear me by now. Otherwise, please let me know. I think you all received an agenda about this update session as well. First of all, I would like to start with the part that Configura actually had some server troubles last night. We received many complaints about CT starting up really slow or don't starting up anyways. We are aware of this problem. This is a CT core function that is at Configura right now. So the problems with starting up, it does start up. It does take a bit more time than it used to, but this is due to these server problems. So give it about 10 minutes. And if it doesn't work, please contact us. But so far, we only know that Configura is working on this. They expect to fix it as soon as possible. But if you have problems starting up, please get some coffee in the meanwhile, and it should work. I see a comment from Luis and still from Kamaya. Are there more people that have problems with the voice recording? Because I see Rebecca is hearing me and Mandy is. Okay, Stephen is also. Okay, Javier and Kamaya can now. Luis might be related to your settings. I see Rachel is also. Okay, most people don't have the problems. Luis, maybe you can check your settings to see if your speaker is receiving it. Okay, might be a local problem in this case, Luis, I'm afraid, because most people can hear it now. Let me check if there's something you can do. I can only direct you to your audio settings for your speakers in the meanwhile. I hope you can figure something out. Okay, starting off with the topics that were in your invitation. We'll get started with the project information. Most people already noticed that the dialogue for your project information is a bit changed from what it was. What we did is we integrated our CET project settings with our Maars 4D project settings. So you now have one dialog box containing all the fields from these previous two dialogues. So this does mean there are a lot of new and additional fields. These new fields aren't mandatory, so they are not required to fill in. They're just optional fields that came from the original CET dialog. So feel free to fill them in. I'll show you that the most important fields are still the order quotation field, the shipping date, and for now, I think that's most important to know. Another important one, if you're a dealer or another client, you can fill in your customer number. For most people, this will be filled out pre-filled because we connected the customer numbers together with your discounts. So if you have your customer number connected to your account, you'll have the default discounts displayed. I don't have any customer number filled in right now, so that's why my default custom discounts are now empty. So based on your customer number, you'll get the right discounts. If you order to our back office, then this isn't applicable for you and you can just skip it. As you can see, I can edit the field, but most people aren't able to edit this because you only have access to one discount. If you have problems with your customer number or you see the wrong discounts in your default menu, please inform us and let us know. But this is the most important part for now for your project settings. Okay, I see it's working for Louis in the meanwhile. That's great. So this is the most important about your project information. Just the new and additional fields. Also, you can still use the templates that you could previously. The only change to the templates is that it doesn't affect your customer number or your discounts anymore. So, okay.
This is Rebecca.
Hi.
I to make about that for the US users with the US template. Like that most everything still works on the legends. Sorry, not the legends, the title blocks that are pre-filled for the US template, with one exception. If you go to the Sold To tab, one of the new columns that wasn't here previously is the state column. If you recall on the last versions, everything was just under city. So folks would just put their city and then comma state, and now there's a separate state column to fill out. This doesn't exist on the title blocks. So what I'll probably do is create a video to show you all how to introduce that, create that data field yourself. Rather than me creating a whole new US template to resend.
Okay, yeah, that's a great addition. And indeed, all these fields that are now in your project information can be used in your pay-per-view as well. So if you fill in the additional information, you can get these custom fields back in your pay-per-view as well. If you want to use them otherwise, you can still get them. Okay, good one. Next up, and you probably all noticed, and I see Javier and Maria are here, and they already seen this during the advanced training here at the Maars office. But we've added a new view to our list of views, which is the demarcation view. As you can see, when you click on it, your drawing will disappear. You'll first have to click the update button. The demarcation view is in your Maars tab. If you click on the update button, you'll see that the demarcation view appears. For now, we've added the demarcation to only 3 parts, to the glass, to the panels and to the doors. So doors are red, panels green, and the glass is blue. There is an additional option to show the walls inside of the demarcation. It's also in your Maars tab. If you click on it, you'll see that your dimensions appear and also your door appears in your plan view. Something else which is important in your demarcation are your legends, because your legends correspond to your floor plan. So if we now place your legends with the new place all legends function and then update the demarcation, you'll see that the colored boxes are corresponding with your demarcation. This allows you to change the options as well. So for example, if you have different types of panels, I have a string to steel panel and a metal line panel, I can make a difference in these colors. So for example, if I say my string 2 panels should be purple, I can select a color, and then you'll see that in your legend, the string 2 steel panel is now purple, and also in your floor plan. So this way you can just adjust it yourself as the way you like. For now, we've added 3 default options for your colors, but you can give each tag a separate color, which will appear on your plan view. We did receive a lot of improvements for the demarcation, so if you have additional suggestions or improvements we can make, please let us know. As you now can see, we don't have any corners yet because we didn't include the corners in the demarcation view. That's one of the feature requests we've received already, but feel free to let us know what we can improve. And I'm very curious, did anyone of you guys already use the demarcation view so far? Not yet? Okay. I'm curious to find out if you're about to use it and if you have any suggestions. So please let us know. So I think that's that about the demarcation view, which is directly connected to the legends. As you just saw, for the legends, we've added multiple new options, but we also improved a lot of functions for the legends. There were many problems with duplicate tags or wrong tags or tags displaying the wrong information. So that's why our release was mainly focused on improving the legends. So we did do a lot of work to improve it. Mainly make sure there aren't any duplicate tags anymore, but added some new features as well. So one of the features you just already saw is place all legends, a request we received many times because you had to place all the legends separately. So you can now place them all together. I'm going to switch back to the Maars installation view for this part. Another thing we've added and that might come in useful is the IDP part. So as you now can see in your green box, you'll see the IDP tag for your selected item. For example, I've selected the door. So you now can see which IDP tag is related to this door, and that is also matching your legends. We've added another option. When you go to the edit legends, you'll now also have the option to rename your text. So for example, if you had a drawing that was already made like a dev drawing, then you can adjust the tags and make sure they correspond with your original drawing. So if I now want to name this day 20, I can save it and D21. So this way you can also lose the D part for the doors and name them anything you like. So you can now rename your own tags. And as you can see, now you'll have D20, D21. If I select the door, it does say D21 with the installation tag related to it. So this is the manual rename function that we've added. Another really interesting one is the locate on drawing that we've added. There was a locate on drawing option before, but not within the legends. So this does mean that you can select, for example, the string 2 steel panel again, If you click on this tag, click with your right mouse button and go to the Locate on Drawing, it will select all the elements with the string to steel panels. So this might come in handy if you have, for example, a change that you need to apply, for example, change all the steel to veneer or to HPL. You can just select your tag in your legend, and then it will highlight it on your floor plan, and you can directly apply a change to that. So that's a quick short route to use the Locate on Drawing. Like I mentioned, the bugs within the legend should be fixed, but unfortunately, if you come across another bug within the legends, please let us know, because we did almost everything we can to improve them. If there are any other suggestions we should add or remove to the legends, please inform us about this. So these are the main new and additional fixes we've added for the legends so far. I also would like to show you the new additional settings that we've added. So I'm going to place my details to show you. Okay, just a few details to get an impression. Okay, so if you now have your details, you already had these numbers that are the reference numbers. We've also added the reference descriptions in your detail options, reference descriptions, update your details. So now, oh, sorry guys, it's in Dutch. I know I changed all the settings except this one. But we've added the reference descriptions to the numbers. So if you now select the reference description setting, it will explain what you see on your detail and which is representing what number. So this is really useful, especially for your installation. We've heard many complaints about our installers that they have problems with these numbers, that it's unclear what it should be, or the thickness of the tape, for example. So turning on these reference descriptions is really helpful. If you send it to the installer, you'll know exactly what number and which description he'll need to use on site. So please make sure to turn it on. I know most architects don't like to see this many information. You can also turn it all off. Even the numbers are now an option to just hide them. If you'll send it to your architect, he'll be happy to have a more cleaner version. But for your installer, make sure to turn it on. Another one in your elevations. I'll place some elevations for you. Okay, we've added an option to hide all the dimension lines within your elevations. So if you uncheck the show dimensions and update your elevation, you'll see that there are no dimension lines anymore. We did this also in perspective of the architect, but we already received a feature request to add one dimension line or maybe even two for the total length and for your module length. So we might adjust this a bit just to show no dimensions or just those two dimension lines. Are there more people that are interested in having only one overall dimension? Okay, Maria, great. Also the module dimension or only the overall? Just curious what you guys prefer, because hiding them all isn't exactly okay. Yeah. Okay. Great. Thanks for the input. Okay, so we'll definitely improve that part. So at least the overall module should be added. Okay, thanks. Another thing that is new is the IDP text and installation text can be shown separately. So for example, if you only want to show the IDP text or only the installation text or turn them both off, you can update your elevation view and you'll have a more clear view again for your architect without the IDPs or the installation. Be aware that it doesn't match your legends if you don't use the text, but you have at least the option to hide it. So these two are also new settings, IDP and installation, can be turned on and off separately. Let me check. Another interesting one for your IDP is that, let me update this again. We've added the IDP text for your wall connections. They were missing before, so you only had it for panels. Now you'll see the wall connections as well in your elevations. So this one is also new. We've already heard that in some cases the glass corners were missing. These will be part of the upcoming patch. So if you have a problem with your glass corners not displaying the correct wall connection IDP in your elevation, this should be fixed in the upcoming patch. We are waiting for the patch for Configura because they have some problems right now with their server, so we cannot bring out a patch at this moment. Hopefully tomorrow. Something else that's new is in your floor plan. We have the STC rating or the dB values. You can now place them free, so they are connected to the wall. As you can see, this line displays to what wall is connected, but you have a free placement option because we received many complaints that it was always on top of your interior exterior or your dimension lines or your arrows. So you'll now have the option to free place it. Also, because we changed it, previously every module displayed their own dB value. For now, we changed it to just displaying your dB or SDC rating for the whole wall. So you might see 50 dB. If you have multiple panels with different dB ratings, it will always select the lowest one for your whole wall. So for example, if I have 50, 50, 40, then it will say 40 because that's the lowest one. So this free placement option is a new feature. There is also a new feature for your floor plan in your dimension styles. I'll show you. We now have the dimensions floor plan, which wasn't there before, which allows you to set all your dimension styles for your floor plan so it can match your elevation and your details. This is also helpful when you have a certain font type set for your AutoCAD, for your DVG. If you can change it, you can now make sure that it matches your AutoCAD drawing. So this one is also a new feature. We did hear some problems, at least Rebecca told me about the dimension lines in inches that are now even more overlapping each other. We are making a priority to make sure to fix that because I've heard that most of the US users that work in inches now have to select a really small font for their floor plan to make it visible and readable. So we'll look into that. That's on our prio list, just so you know. Just a few more changes I would like to point out. For example, if you create a special, let me select a special log, for example. Previously, when you had a part that you need to validate, so it would display as red, but this was a problem in your rendering. So what we did is when you have a red validated item and you make it a special, then the red color disappears. So if I now fill in the box, you'll see that the red color will disappear. And now you can only see it's a special when you're in the special modules view. We did this because we had many problems with renderings showing red colors or even the pink colors from the specials. This should all be fixed. because there were many complaints about, for example, a special wall connection that showed up in pink in your normal view when you're trying to make a photo render. So these are the parts we fixed. So if you have red validated items that you are pretty sure that can be constructed on site, you can create a special and the red color will disappear. Another thing we've changed is the lever handles. By accident, I already displayed it to you. Because if you have a special lever, before, if you selected a special lever or lock, the lever handle disappeared from your 3D view. So it looked like you didn't select anything at all. So what we did is we added a default door handle, a lever handle, that represents your special. So in your renders, you'll at least see that there is a door handle instead of none. A good suggestion that already came up is, does this also do the same when you select the PBA bar pool? For now, no, it doesn't. I think it still displays nothing. I can show you. PBA bar pool. No, it still displays nothing, but this is something that came up during the update sessions here, and we'll definitely add this one. So I'll make sure that if you select the bar pool and then say it's a special, that you at least see some default bar pool to represent your selected one. Of course, we would love to improve that by selecting the one that most likely represents your selected special. But for now, this was the best we could do.
Can you, and this is Rebecca, can you double check if they do special door handle? Because I think some people were no, go back to bar pull, so uncheck that and do special door handle at the very end. Some people were having an issue where it was still showing a lever, even though they were specifying a bar pull.
Okay, that's an interesting one. If we have an example case of this one, then that will be great, because I think it should at least display a default bar pull and not the default lever handle.
Yeah, I remember it was
Yeah,
specifically
no.
on a flush door
Okay.
that it happened. So I don't know if that one has some different rules built into it, but they were trying to do a bar pull on a flush door and it was showing a lever.
Okay. I'll write it down. Flush door bar pull. Okay, I'll check this afterwards. Okay. Some other things we've added there are more product management related, are that you're now allowed to draw a double door closer on a double door. Previously, you couldn't draw a double door closer. For now, we've said we can allow it, but you do get a red validation because we don't know the closing order of both doors. So that is a problem that can be fixed on site, as we know, but because it isn't tested, we aren't officially allowed to draw it. So there's a solution in the middle by drawing it with a validation. So for example, this one, I have a double door over here. And if I now select a door closer, there is another option shows double door closer. If you check it and you apply close, then you'll see your floor plan changes. So it now represents the double doors. And I see, oh, this is a flush glass door, which is the only door that is allowed to have a double door closer because it is a tested scenario. There are reports on Wally. But if you, for example, chose a steel door, then you'll get a red validation. Double door closer, double door closer. Okay, now you'll see it turns up red because this is an untested scenario. So drawing a double door closure is only allowed for the flush glass doors, but if you know it's possible to make sure it works on site, you can also draw it for others. If you want to get rid of the red color, you can also create a special. Just be aware that this does need some instruction for your installer on site to make sure that the closing order is correct with your double doors. There are also some catalog changes which I will provide online when I post this webinar, because it's quite a long list and I don't want to get into all of it. There is also a change for La Linea that I'll show you. When you now draw a La Linea wall, you'll have the renewed or the recessed wall connection. Previously, you would get this wall connection by default, and we've upgraded it to the recessed wall track. So if you draw a La Linea wall, this is the default. If you have an existing La Linea project, make sure you select the previous one if you want to make sure that everything looks the same. For new projects, we advise to use the new and recessed wall connection. I would like to point out a few important bugs that came along. We had some problems with tape and polyplus, which somehow some projects changed. So if you selected tape as a junction for your project and reopened your project, it could have changed to polyplus. Really tricky. So that one is fixed. We also had quite a few problems with your wall settings in this menu. I think Jessica also mentioned this problem. We've heard multiple complaints that there was wall filled in for your description, but then wall was not visible in your elevations, or that your prefix was empty, but your elevation arrows still displayed some prefix. So these problems should be fixed now. You can also still change your wall names and rename them. It also sorts on an alphabetical order now. It didn't do that before. So that's a new feature that we've added. So if you, for example, name this A01 and B02, it will sort on alphabet first and next in numeric order. So that's a new feature. But the main problems with your wall names on your floor plan and your prefix in your elevation arrows should be fixed. Let's hope it never returns, but because we had this problem a few times actually. One other one is that the buy blocks somehow, I've drawn a few buy blocks. Curious to find out if you guys had this problem as well. When you opened your scheme, your glass interior and your glass exterior side was empty. So this is an important one that we fixed. So it looked like something was selected because you did see some type of glass, but in your scheme, your glass values were empty. This is an important bug that we fixed. Yes, okay, I see Rebecca had that a few times. Yeah, it was a really tricky one because you could actually only see it in your scheme, or you could see it in your bill of material by having the wrong glass type. And another one that I think many of you had problems with, mainly in Horizon using Metaline, was the apply color from master scheme. So if you go to your master settings and change your project color, in many cases there were wall connections or profiles that remained white, although you've selected, for example, okay, you would maybe never select red, but just as an example. So if you apply your color to your project, we've had the problem that almost all the wall connections from your Metaline door frame, for example on top, would remain white, although you've changed your color. Okay. So I see, at least for my demo project, it seems to work. But this should be fixed. So if you apply your master scheme color, everything should change. There shouldn't be white elements left. So please check if you had this problem before. It should work now. Then before I go to the general QA, I am allowed to show you something really fun, which is Carré. So here we go. Carré is only available for Horizon, of course, single glazed. And probably some of you already noticed an additional icon. It is still under construction, by the way. We are trying to finish it for the upcoming release that will be in, I think, about 2 weeks from now. So as you can see, if you select the Carré option, which is in your Horizon settings, next to your glass junctions, you can click it and then you'll see different snap points becoming available. We've added default snapping points for Carré on your junctions because mainly they will be placed on your junctions. So for example, I've set my main color to red, by the way, so this is why it turns up red. Okay, because Carré can be ordered in different colors as well. So if I set it for my junctions, I can also set it in the middle of a glass pane. You also have the option, as you can see in your green box, this untranslated part represents the X and the Y. So if I want a horizontal transom, I could give in, for example, 600. And then you'll see it creates new snap points on this dimension line, which you can fill out. You can change it and you can give in a new height. This way you can create your own Carré grid. As you can see, you can draw it all the way back. This will save up a lot of time. A good thing is that if you set your new snap points based on your given in height in your green box, it will recognize these points around your corner. So all the connected walls, as you can see here, you can just continue drawing on the exact same height if you go around the corners. Okay, I'm trying to read it in the meanwhile. Yeah, the Carré part is coming out, I think, in about 2 weeks. So keep patient. It will be here soon. Okay, something else we've added is the Carré steel corner. So by default, you'll get the glass corner when you draw your horizon wall. If you select the Carré steel corner, you can select it to make sure if you go around the corner that you have your Carré corner selected. Let me check what I can display. In Horizon, we now have your profile color and your corner color available. So you can change both of them. Another thing that has been added already is your elevations that also have Carré now. So if I now place my elevations, you'll see all your Carré profiles available. And to check the question from Javier, yes, it does calculate the amount of Carré profiles that you'll need. So you don't have to order them using your pick list anymore. Just checking if there are more questions. Not recipes. Yeah. So I'm curious, how many of you guys sold Carré before, are going to sell it, or would love to use this? Okay, I see a lot of people that are very happy, which is great. Oh, yeah, I know it's very popular as well in the US. At least if I hear that from Rebecca. Okay, that's great. Because I know during the advanced training we explained how you can draw Carré, and there's also a video tutorial available from Rebecca. but it takes a lot of time to draw it right now because it's not really a Maars 4D function yet. So this will save up a lot of time, I hope. Drawing it on doors, yes, as well. I'm not sure if this is in my version here, so if I can show you, I can try. But yes, of course, you can draw it on doors as well. Yeah. I'm not sure if it works for me in this version. Yeah, it does. Yeah. So yeah, you can continue your pattern all over the doors as well. Yeah. Yeah. Well, about Rebecca's question, yes, we use it on the Meadowline doors, but the New Horizon door frame will also become available in the near future. So probably that's something that we'll also use. Mm. Let me check if I can still draw it. I'm not sure. Yeah, it still works. Yeah, so at least in my version, but yeah, all the available door frames in your horizon wall should be able to have carré on it, but of course make sure it's a glass door. Yes, actually it does generate a detail as well. I have no clue if that is added to this version yet, but I'll just give it a go and just see if I can create some details for you. Um, for now, I can at least show you the floor plan. If you now zoom in, you also see the carré profiles in your floor plan part, also for your doors, but I think the details, at least they aren't complete yet. No, these, oh, well, these parts are included with carré. So some of them are right now, but we're still finishing up. So this is the last part that we're working on, is adding the detail blocks. So as you can see, we have a few already, but there are also a few missing. But when we release it, it will be a complete part. So you'll have the elevations, the details. You can order it using your bill of material, and you can draw it in through 3D. So yay, that was the fun part. I am curious if there are any questions. So I would like to open up a general QA. Someone has any questions or remarks about this release or the content of this release, I can also refer you in the meanwhile to our release notes on Wally. I know it's quite a long list, but if you have, if you want to make sure if one of your reports or fixes is in our release, you can always check our release notes because it's quite. I've highlighted the most important ones. So, any questions about this release? It stays very quiet.
Yeah, it's Rebecca again. I know we have a few dealers who, from time to time on their projects, have used Carré on Meadowline single glazed walls. I know that you said it's only available to draw on the horizon. So would they still be able to calculate and order that through the article list, or when they want to use it on Meadowline single glazed?
Yes, that's an interesting one. I'll definitely check if that will become available, because if that's something that they draw right now, maybe we should just allow them to draw it directly in your 3D view, but it will always be an option in your pick list as well. So we are not removing it from the pick list by adding it. So you can order it separately if you like. But maybe it's a good one to check if we can automate this as well.
Okay, great.
Okay. Any other questions or remarks or suggestions? Okay, very good. Well, then I've finished up like 10 minutes earlier than I've suggested. Oh, wait, one from Sander. But since we went. Yeah, that's a good one. Um, Switching the interior and exterior side for the door sliders. Yeah, that's great. Okay, Stephen, I'll write this down and make sure that we check this because that would be a great option to check it in the door. Okay. Okay, noted it down. Thanks. Okay, so now you're all up to date. You'll have a sneak preview of what is coming up really soon. If you have any problems in the meanwhile, feel free to create a ticket or contact us. And thank you all for joining and for your questions. I'll be posting this webinar online as well. So if you have any questions afterwards, you'll have the option to review this as well. Okay, thank you guys. Thank everyone.